Hare Krishna, that's Sundar Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, everybody. Am I audible to everyone?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Great, great. So, it is my pleasure to welcome all of you for Krishna Katha retreat organized by ISKCON Bhagavat Mahavidyalaya. And it is my great pleasure to introduce you a very nice and very learned and very scholarly devotee, and he's our friend and very wonderful devotee. So Kanai Krishna Prabhu, we welcome you. Thank you very much for your wonderful time.
Thank you.
So Kanai Krishna Prabhu is a disciple of His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. He joined ISKCON in the year 2001. He is a full-time monk in ISKCON Pune. Prabhu has completed his graduation in mechanical engineering in 2004, and he worked with different MNCs such as FMR Corporation, Honeywell Corporation, and others such as Oracle Consultant for 6 years. And 2000, he joined as a full-time monk in ISKCON Pune in the year 2011. And since his college years, Prabhu has been rendering services as a preacher of Krishna consciousness to the students and to the corporate youth as well. He is an associate member of ISKCON's Shastric Advisory Committee. GBC has a body called as SAC, Shastric Advisory Committee, which gives advices to the GBC and they write papers. So Kanai Krishna Prabhu is one of those reputed scholars who are the part of this team. And Prabhu is also the Dean of ISKCON Bhagavat Mahavidyalaya. He's one of the founder members of ISKCON Bhagavat Mahavidyalaya. And he is a lead instructor for Bhakti Shastri and Bhakti Yoga courses at ISKCON Pune. He's a Sanskrit scholar with expertise in Paninian grammar. He teaches Sanskrit grammar, Sanskrit commentaries on Bhakti Shastras, as well as he does courses on Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhava to various places across India. And Prabhu is pursuing a master's and PhD very soon. And he's a very learned scholar, and he likes to educate and encourage devotees to take to the shelter of the commentaries of the acharyas. So he has been encouraging hundreds and hundreds of devotees since past many years, and we are very grateful that we are having this association here, and which is going to help us and enhance our consciousness and understanding of Srimad Bhagavatam. So Kanai Krishna Prabhu, thank you very much for your wonderful time and association. So welcome. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Braj Sundar Prabhu. And I take your words of encouragement more than a fact as an expectation from me, and seek blessings of all of you that I would be able to serve in some insignificant way. Hare Krishna. So my humble obeisance to all the devotees. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindubhye vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. So let us get started. I'll start with the prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगणा ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधाकांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. That's one special prayer to Srimad Bhagavatam written by Srila Sanatana Goswami in his Krishna Leela Stava. So I'll just recite it before we begin to describe the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam through this Leela of Govardhan Dharan. Sarvashastra Piyusha Sarvavedaika Satphala Sarvasiddhanta Ratnadhya Sarvalokaika Drikprada Sarvabhagavata Prana Srimad Bhagavata Prabho Kalidvanto Ditaditya Shri Krishna Parivartita Paramananda Pathaya Premavarshaksharaayate Sarvada Sarvasevyaya Shri Krishnaya Namostubme Madekabandho Matsangin Madguro Manmahadhana मन्निस्तारक मद्भाग्य मदानंद नमोस्तुते असाधु साधुता दायिन् अतिनीचोच्चतारक हानमुंच कदाचिन्मां प्रेमणार्थ कंठयोस्फुर श्रीमद्भागवत महापुराणम की जय. Hare Krishna. So welcome all of you in this Krishna Kathamritam series, and I would like each one of you to, I would like to get introduced to each one of you, but in the interest of time, I would proceed with today's discussion. But what we will do is, every time you have some input to give, especially I want to keep these sessions very interactive. So if you have an input to give, so please tell your name, and you can begin speaking after that. Of course, some of your names I can see on the Zoom list itself, but I'm sure sometimes, yeah, the legal names are there, devotees are initiated and like that. So please tell your name also in the beginning, so that at least I can get to know each one of you by your name. So especially when you are giving some inputs or asking questions, that is something which I would request you to do. Okay, so today is an introductory session of this series of Krishna Kathamritam, and I'm going to speak on topic of Govardhan Leela, Govardhan Dharan Leela. So in today's session, primarily it's going to be introduction. So I may not be taking also 1.5 hours full time. We might end a little early, 15-20 minutes before the scheduled time. And primarily I would speak as an introduction to this topic of Govardhan Leela. So I'm going to discuss a few topics like glory of Srimad Bhagavatam, and also glory of the 10th canto and glory of Govardhan Leela itself. So Bhagavatam itself, how it is a very special scripture. Then we will have some brief discussion on also how 10th canto is very special out of whole Bhagavatam. And in that, how Govardhan Leela is very special. Again, a brief discussion. I mean, each one of these topic can be spoken for so many sessions, but we want to just touch few principles of these aspects. And then from tomorrow, I would elaborately speak on the various aspects of Govardhan Leela. In Srimad Bhagavatam, this Leela is spoken in 4 chapters. So I would also speak in 4 sessions the various aspects of this Leela. So that is my plan. For today, it is more like an introduction. Okay. So let us begin with our prayers and obeisances unto Lord Krishna, and also Govardhan, who is non-different from Lord Krishna, so that we would be able to absorb in this narration of this beautiful pastime from the 10th canto. I am also very thankful to all of you for taking out your valuable time in hearing this Krishna Kathamritam series. In Sanskrit, there is a Subhashitam. Subhashitam is a beautiful saying. Subhashitam, suvichar, beautiful saying, wise saying. So it says, Kim karishanti vaktarah yatra shrotana vidyate nagna kshapanake deshe rajakah kim karishyati. Very simple Sanskrit. Kim karishanti vaktarah. What will the speakers do? Vakta is a speaker of some katha, speaker of a discourse. Kim karishanti vaktarah. What will the speakers do? Yatra shrotana vidyate. Where there is no shrota. What will be the speakers do if there is no shrota only, right? Sometimes in our programs, what happens is the vakta, the speaker, he wants to reach on time, but he's stuck in some traffic jam. So what do? We don't cancel the program. We ask somebody else to speak, isn't it? The speaker is replaced by some another qualified speaker, like that. Imagine if the audience only is not there, what will happen? So yatra shrotana vidyate, if the audience only is missing, then you don't have any other option but to cancel the program, right? So out of vakta and shrota, actually, shrotas are very important. Those who are hearing, they are very important. Kim karishanti vaktarah yatra shrotana vidyate. And then a very interesting drishtant is given to explain this. In any statement of Shastra, there is Siddhanta and there is Drishtanta. So here Siddhanta is the principle that is to be understood is, well, Vakta and Shrota, in them Shrota is very important. And what is the example given? Nagna kshapanake deshe rajakah kim karishyati. Nagna kshapanake, kshapanaka in Sanskrit means a sadhu, a Jain sadhu. So Jain sadhu or Naga sadhu. So if in a place, all the Naga sadhus stay. You know, Naga sadhus, they don't wear clothes. Or all the Jain sadhus stay, Digambar Jains, who don't wear any clothes. Rajakah kim karishyati. What will the washerman do there? If a washerman goes to a place where all the Naga sadhus stay, what is his job? He does it. Well, he is supposed to wash the clothes, but there is nobody wearing clothes only. So same way, actually, to get Krishna conscious, interesting audience, interesting devotees, devotees who are interested in Krishna Katha is very rare fortune. And that is something which every speaker should value, because the sincere devotees who are trying to understand subject matter and practice it in their life is a very, very rare thing. And that's how it's very important that we share the quality Krishna Katha amidst each other, so that we inspire each other in our practice of Krishna consciousness. So with that perspective, I would also, want to express my gratitude for giving this opportunity to speak. When you speak about Krishna, it is said that when a conditioned soul wants to glorify Krishna, it's actually an insult to Krishna. Rather than a glorification, it's an insult to Krishna. Why is that? You will say, how is that insult to Krishna? Huh? Imagine somebody who is a great business magnate. He is world's wealthiest business magnate, rich man, and such a person who is number one rich personality in the whole world. If you introduce him saying that, oh, he's actually so wealthy, he has one or two companies which he owns, and he can give you thousands of rupees. Your effort is to glorify him, but actually, what are you talking about? He can give thousands of rupees. Come on, he can give billions of rupees. He doesn't own just one company, he owns multiple companies. He has a whole business empire. So if you don't know the full glory, and if you try to glorify someone, well, it could end up into, actually more than glorification, it could end up into an insult, because you don't know his full glory. So that is what acharyas say it may happen when we want to glorify Krishna, because he is so glorious, he is so exalted, and then you want to glorify by your paltry understanding some aspect of Krishna. So we may not even be able to glorify him actually. We may glorify him and actually minimize his glory. So does that mean we shouldn't be glorifying Krishna? Then we should keep quiet. Why should we glorify Krishna if that is so? So the point is no. There's a very beautiful verse in the first canto, 1:18-23. Sutta Goswami says this verse: Aham hi prashtor yamano bhavadbhir achaksha atma vagamotra yavam nabha patantyatma samam patatrinas tatha samam vishnu gatam vipaschita. Very beautiful point he says. This is 1:18-23. So he says that actually a devotee glorifying Krishna, it is like Nabha patanti atma samam patatrina. See, the sky is unlimited. Sky has no limit. But in that sky, how far a bird can go? A bird will fly as much it can fly. Atma samam. Nabha patanti atma samam patatrinas. नभ में स्वयं की जितनी क्षमता है उसके अनुसार पक्षी जो है वो विहार करते हैं. नभः पतन्ति आत्म समम पतत्रिणा तथा समम विष्णु गतिम विपश्चितः. Similarly, those who know about Krishna should glorify him as much as they know, as much as their realization is there. Atma vagamo, that is the word used. So Sutta Goswami says, I will also glorify Krishna as much as I know, as much as I have realized. That's it. But otherwise, Krishna is unlimited. Glories of Lord are unlimited, just as sky is unlimited. But as a bird, I will try to fly as much as I can. If I'm a sparrow, I can fly up to a certain height. If I'm an eagle, I can fly up to a certain height, isn't it? So point is, we offer our best effort to glorify Krishna, and he accepts it. He's such a merciful Lord. Even if we don't know his full glory, he accepts it as his glorification. He's like another example is given, very beautiful, like a loving mother or father. When a child is speaking the glories of Lord, when a child is learning to speak, when we see that the child is not able to speak the distinct articulate words, right? Papa or mama, mummy, whatever, I, papa, Marathi, it said like that. So he is not able to speak, but even though he says just ma, 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 then parents will say, oh, he's saying mama, He's saying Mama. He's saying, or Papa. They'll say, he's saying Papa. Papa. He is not saying Papa, Baba. He's only saying Papa. But that's the love, actually. That is how parents are loving. So this is how Lord is loving also. When you glorify, then Krishna takes those words of glorification as actual, qualified words of glorification, although they may not be qualified. So by Lord's mercy, by his great compassion, we have any qualification to speak. Otherwise, what is our qualification? But because Krishna is like that loving mother, like loving father, so that's why whatever broken words we speak, whatever our broken words, he takes it as his glorification. So this is the attitude with which a devotee glorifies Krishna. We don't feel like we are great scholars, or we know Shastras so well, we can explain deep meanings of Shastra or deep imports from Acharyas, Prabhupada. No, that's not our point. Our point is actually that Krishna is most merciful, and so our glorification is accepted by him. So that is why forget about not glorifying the Lord. We want to glorify him with whatever little capacity we have. That's our point. In fact, if we don't glorify that Vani, that Vacha is considered useless. Bhagavatam says that. Bilebato krama vikramange nashanvata karna pute narasya jiva sati dardurike vasuta nachopagayati urugaya gatha. Second canto, third chapter. Shonakrishi says this, that actually those words, that tongue which does not glorify the Supreme Lord, it's considered to be like tongue like a frog's tongue. Jiva sati dardurike vasuta. Just like frog makes that sound, and by which he only attracts the snake. Similarly, by not speaking about Krishna, we will only attract the snake of time to come and devour us. So we should glorify Krishna like that. So very beautiful point is there, which is spoken by one of our acharyas from the Madhva Sampradaya. His name is Shripad Jayatirtha, and he has written a very beautiful verse. Ganga Sangena Nairmalyam Ratyadhibhir Labhyate Yata Vacho Vishuddhis Siddhyartham Sangamyante Gurur Giraha. So this is also a verse which is written by this great Acharya, Jayatirth. So what does he say? He says that actually our words, our sadhaka's words are like, if you say, see the Ganges. So there is Ganges flowing, beautiful water of Ganges flowing, Ganga. And then besides Ganga, you may see some rainwater is also there. Because of rain, some water gets accumulated to Ganges, nearby Ganges, and that water also mixes with Ganges. Once it mixes with Ganges, it is considered what? Again, it is considered Ganges. It is considered Ganga. It was not Ganga. It was rainwater, which just got mixed with Ganga. But then you don't now discriminate it. You see that, oh, that water and Ganges water, it's all mixed now. It's the same Ganga, although that stream has come and met from outside. So similarly, Jayatirth says, our words are like that street water, that water which is not actual Ganges. Our words, our efforts to glorify the Lord. But when those words connect to the Ganges-like words of Prabhupada, Ganges-like words of Acharyas, then those words also gain that value like Ganga. To the degree we follow Prabhupada's words, to the degree we follow the words of Acharyas, we see that to that degree, our words will also have the purity. They will also have the effect. Just like that rainwater or the street water was considered to be Ganga. Ganga Sangena Nairmalyam. गंगा के संग से जैसे निर्मलता प्राप्त होती है रस्ते के पानी को भी, exactly like that, vacho vishuddhi siddhyartham, to become, so that our vacha becomes vishuddha, it becomes pure, we should connect it to the great glory of Vani, of Acharyas, of Prabhupada. Their words are like Ganga. Prabhupada's words are like Ganga. You connect your words to those words, then your words will also act miraculously. They will inspire people. They will inspire Krishna consciousness in other people. But where is the glory? The glory is in that connection, being connected to the Acharya's words. So that is how a speaker considers the glory of Acharya's words, Prabhupada's words, uh, Guru's words. And if he connects those, then it can have some effect. So that is actually the real mood with which we all should be striving to speak. Then Krishna Katha will have effect. Otherwise, Krishna Katha, we may speak bombastic, Katha with, great details and a lot of literary embellishments. But if we don't have the right mood, then we will see that people will be only inspired in the head. They will be not inspired in the heart. Okay. So head and heart both should be inspired. We should touch intellectually and we should also inspire people from within the heart so that the message of Krishna consciousness is taken seriously. It is practiced. So that is the point. That is how we understand that Krishna Katha is to be glorified. Yes. So I will speak now something on glory of Srimad Bhagavatam. But before that, would any one of you would like to ask something, a question, or would like to give some comment? You may want to add something in what I spoke. Anybody, please raise hands and please free to share your thoughts also. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam.
Can you please repeat that verse again? This Ganga Sangir Nirmanyam. I just want to note it down.
Okay. Yes. I will also send the verse, before tomorrow's session, all these verses which I have quoted. Well, the verse is like this. Ganga Sangena Nirmalyam Rathya Dibhir Labhyate Yatha. Rathya Dibhir Labhyate Yatha. Vacho Vishuddhi Siddhyartham Sangamyante Goror Girah. So what I'll do is, but I will also put these verses in a sheet and I'll share with all of you, just in case any one of you wants to refer them back. Yes.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
No problem. Thank you. Yes. Anyone else would like to comment on anything? Share your realizations on.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
My name is
Madhuji.
Gaurangi Sundari Devidasi. Prabhu, regarding the glorification that you were saying that actually we are not qualified, but still we glorify. So I was remembering a similar verse in Srimad Bhagavatam. I think it comes in Canto 3, wherein Maitreya Muni says, it's very beautiful and appropriate. He says that though I'm not qualified to speak, but if I don't speak, then my power of speech will remain unchaste. So that point also is very wonderful. How one of the examples that actually we have to speak because we have been given the power to speak.
Absolutely.
Even
Very
though
nice.
we cannot. Yes, true.
Very beautiful. Yes. Jiva Sati. Otherwise, our Jiva will become Asati. Yes.
Yes.
As you said, unchaste. Very nice. Thank you. Yes. Good insight. Yes. Varadrajan Prabhu.
Yes. Namaste ji.
Namaste.
Can you put the verses tomorrow in advance so that we can learn in advance?
Okay. I will do that. See, from tomorrow, what I'm going to do is all the verses that I'm going to quote in the class, I'll send the presentation beforehand only, so that when I'm speaking, you can look at the verse, surely.
Yeah, so we can reverse it once or twice.
Oh, absolutely.
That is helpful for us.
Yes, sure.
Thank you.
Okay,
Namaste.
thank you. Namaste. Raghunath Puri Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat.
Prabhu, it was really, what you started to speak, and then finally, few things which you said, like, it was really haunting me and putting my minds into thoughts. based on some of the thought process, we exactly understand now that every word spoken by our Prabhupada, our Guru Maharaj, or anyone, all our senior devotees are just like, we are comparing that with river catches. That's the purest form of the thing. And that's the beauty. I really, it has touched me to the extent
Yes.
that I could realize this is the way we can express ourselves, even though we are not qualified to speak about Lord Krishna. But yes, whatever has been told to us, whatever we have learned, we can orate the same words.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Thank you. Yes, Prabhu. All right. Okay. All right. So we go ahead. Thank you so much for sharing your inputs. And I really look forward. Now. I'm very happy about you. Don't just feel that I'm asking as a formality or something. No, I would really like to. Each one of you are very qualified devotees. And, that's why I would also look forward to hear from you on the relevant points which we have been speaking. All right. So I move on. The next thing that I want to speak is about the glory of Srimad Bhagavatam, especially as established by our own Sampradaya, Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. See, I'm taking this opportunity of introductory session to also sort of give a glimpse into how the glory of Srimad Bhagavatam is established by our acharyas, our Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, especially. And in that, then all these pastimes have been spoken and we are able to now access these pastimes. But a great effort has been actually taken to preserve this, first of all, bring forth and then preserve this legacy of Srimad Bhagavatam by our acharyas. So let us talk also about this Bhagavat Mahatmya from the aspect of how it was brought forth to us. So as you all know, Vyasadev in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, at the beginning of Kali Yuga, see, Lord Krishna had just departed and Parikshit was here on this planet. That's where Vyasadev foresaw in the future and he saw that how Kali Yuga is going to come now. So the condition of Kali Yuga is going to be horrible with all the bodily strength going down, memory going down, capacity of people to hold Shastra, understand Shastra going down, even the character and the culture, all the aspects. Prayena alpavishah sabhya kalavasmin yuge janaha mandaha sumanda matayo mandabhagya hupadri. All the qualities of Kali Yuga people. So when he saw all these anomalies, he decided to put the Vedic scriptures into writing. Before that, it was only Shruta Parampara. It was only a tradition of hearing. But he decided to put down everything. And you know that. He put down everything. He put down the four Vedas, Rik, Sam, Yaju, Atharva. Then he wrote down all the Upanishads, Vedanta, Vedanta Sutras. He not only did that, he also wrote down all the 18 Puranas. He also wrote down Mahabharata. And in spite of all this, he was not satisfied. This is elaborately discussed in chapter 4th of first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So he was not satisfied. And he was himself wondering what happened. Why am I not satisfied? In spite of writing so many scriptures, it is not that he is writing some mundane literature. He has written all the scriptures which are talking about the spiritual aspects, which are talking about the aspects which are dealing with the proper darshan shastra. So then, while analyzing his own dissatisfaction, he says this, Kimva prayena nirupita. He says that, is it that I have not glorified Lord's, I have not done Lord's glorification in a pure and spotless way? So, while he was thinking like this, that's when Narad Muni arrives there, who is Vyasadev's spiritual master. And Narad Muni exactly, very promptly gave diagnosis of his whole thing. Parasharya Mahabhaga Bhavatah Kachidatmana. He says there that, hey Parashar, O son of Parashar Muni, is it that you are satisfied with considering, body or considering mind as the objects of self-realization, like that. Parasharya Mahabhaga Bhavatah Kachidatmana Paritushate Sharira Atma Manaseva. Yeah, that's the verse. Do you consider that only body and mind, they are the objects of self-realization and not the spirit soul? Because what you have offered is exactly catering to the needs of body and mind finished. You haven't written anything that satisfies the soul completely. And then that's how Narad Muni there gave a prompt diagnosis saying, Bhavata anudita prayam yasho bhagavato malam yena vaso na tushet manne tad darshanam khilam. He says, actually that darshan, that scripture which does not glorify the Supreme Lord, does not satisfy him, I consider it to be deficient, incomplete. Manne tad darshanam khilam. I accept that darshan as khila. Khila means something which is deficient, which is incomplete, which is not up to the mark, like that. Why? Because you wrote so many scriptures, but you didn't write exclusive and full, complete glorification of the Lord. Yatha dharma dayaschartha munivarya anuvarnita na tatha vasudevasya mahima hi anuvarnita. You have not glorified the Lord's yasha, spotless glories, like the way you have glorified all these other scriptures. In them the other topics like dharma, artha, kama, moksha. So this is the uniqueness of Bhagavatam. Actually, personally, I have been a reader of other Puranas also, and the Upanishads and all that, being in the field of Shastric research and studies. But the way Bhagavatam brings out pure devotional service, no other scripture brings out. You will be amazed to see this. Even Sattvic Puranas like Vishnu Purana, such Puranas also, they don't glorify Krishna exclusively and completely like the way Bhagavad Puran glorifies. If you see the episodes of even somebody like Dhruva Maharaj in these other Puranas, apart from Bhagavad Puran, if you see Dhruva Charitra in other Puranas, what is glorified is Dhruva's determination and Lord fulfilling the desires of Dhruva. But if you see Bhagavatam, it will glorify that pure devotional service aspect, pure glorification of Supreme Lord as being the Purushartha Shiromani, the best goal of all the objectives in this world. Not Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, but the glorification of Lord, Prema unto the Supreme Lord as Purushartha Shiromani. That's the glorification, that's the special privilege of Bhagavatam actually. And this can be strikingly seen, the way Bhagavatam glorifies pure devotional service. You take other episodes also, Vritrasur episode, it's there in Rig Veda, it's there in Mahabharata, it's there in other Puranas. But Vritrasur, the way Bhagavatam brings out his glory as pure devotional service, it's not there in other Puranas. You will glorify other aspects like dharma, artha, kama, or at best moksha. All these leelas, Lord's glorification, they are considered to be like means for achieving moksha. And by moksha, I mean not prema, not achieving love of Godhead, but moksha like sayujya, sayujya mukti, such mokshas. So it is actually exclusive Bhagavatam speciality that it has glorified Krishna in a spotless way. That's why it is known as Paramhamsa Samhita, Amala Puran. And this is what was the striking thing which Lord Chaitanya established in his teachings. Although all the Vedic scriptures are glorious in the sense that they are all astic, they are all speaking about Supreme Lord and his existence, his energies. But the way Bhagavatam establishes Lord's spotless glories, it is actually highest pramana. Srila Jiva Goswami has gone in elaborate details to establish how Bhagavatam is the best pramana in Tattva Sandarbh, in his book called Tattva Sandarbh. Sarva Pramana Chakravarti, he calls Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam is Sarva Praman Chakravarti. It's the best, it's the emperor of all the pramanas. Praman means, you understand? Praman means the source books, textbooks of establishing something. So this Bhagavatam is actually, in this way, Lord Chaitanya established it as highest Praman and gave us this Bhagavatam. Before also, Bhagavatam was available. Sridhar Swami had commented, Madhvacharya wrote his Bhagavat Tatparya Nirnaya and all that. But the way Lord Chaitanya glorified Bhagavatam and inspired his Goswami followers to write on it, establish on it, it was unprecedented actually. One of the Acharya, Srinath Chakravarti, who wrote the commentary on Bhagavatam called Chaitanya Matamanjusha, he wrote that famous verse, which is the pivotal verse in our Sampradaya. Arabdhyo Bhagavan Vrajeshtanayas Tadhama Vrindavanam Ramya Kachita Upasana Vrajavadhu Vargena Yakalpita Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanam Amalam Prema Pumartho Mahan Shri Chaitanya Maham Prabhor Matamidam Tatra Dharana Para. This verse is written by Srinath Chakravarti, who is the first commentator on Bhagavatam in our Sampradaya. He wrote the first commentary on Bhagavatam. So this personality, who was a very learned Acharya, he was Guru of Sri Kavi Karnapur. So you can know his caliber. But if any of you know Kavi Karnapur, he was very learned, exalted Acharya. And Srinath Chakravarti is Guru of Kavi Karnapur. So this verse establishes Bhagavatam as Pramanam Amalam. It's the spotless highest Praman for Gaudiyas. Who is our worshipable Lord? Vrajesh Tanayas. What upasana, what mode of worship we consider highest? Vrajavadhu Vargena Ya Kalpita. That which is done by Vrajavadhus, Gopis, Srimati Radharani. That's the highest worship in our Sampradaya. We accept it. What is the highest Praman? Srimad Bhagavatam is the highest Praman. So in this way, this particular verse establishes that what are the highest principles which are accepted in our Sampradaya, like that. And literally Lord Chaitanya's, this mode was taken by our Acharyas so well, especially Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Jiva Goswami. They wrote extensively on Srimad Bhagavatam. In fact, Jiva Goswami is credited with highest credit on understanding Bhagavatam and establishing it as the highest Praman in all over the world. Why? Because he wrote 6 Sandarbhas, Shad Sandarbhas, which are elaborate explanations of Bhagavatam's topics. So that is thematic explanation of Bhagavatam. And Jiva Goswami also wrote systematic, means text by text commentary on Bhagavatam, which is known as Krama Sandarbha, which is the 7th Sandarbha. 6 Sandarbhas are thematic, 7th Sandarbha is systematic. So that is how you comment on a particular book or topic. So my point is that literally Bhagavatam's glory is established by our own Acharyas. Before that, Bhagavatam was just one of the scriptures. But after our Acharyas' works, Bhagavatam became the scripture. Bhagavatam was established and accepted as the highest scripture. That's when people, these ideas like Vidyavatam, Bhagavate Pariksha and all became famous. Meaning, if you want to test a learning, if you want to test scholarship of a person, Vidyavatam Bhagavate Pariksha, then you should test him in Bhagavatam. These ideas became extremely prominent. Why? Because Bhagavatam was established by Jiva Goswami, Rupa Goswami, and all of them so wonderfully. It was established like highest Praman. Not only they wrote Bhagavatam commentaries, but they also wrote books such as Ananda Vrindavan Champu, Gopala Champu, which are elaborations of pastimes of Bhagavatam. Very beautiful, actually. I can tell you, Prabhus, Matajis, that the kind of material has been written on Bhagavatam, no other Sampradaya has produced such a material, So this is not to minimize any other Sampradaya. This is only to tell what is the specialization of our Sampradaya. Our Sampradaya has focused on Bhagavatam. See, there are other Vaishnava Acharyas also. Sri Sampradaya has the commentary of great Veer Raghav Acharya. He has written that commentary, famous commentary known as Bhagavat Chandrika. There is another Acharya who is known as Sudarshan Suri. He has written a commentary called Shukapakshiyam. These are all Sri Sampradaya Acharya. In Madhva Sampradaya, Vijayadhvaj Tirtha has written a commentary called Padaratnavali. Similarly, in Vallabh Sampradaya, the great Vallabhacharya has written a commentary, Subodhini, and so many others, Girdhar Lal Goswami and Nirbhay Rama, and many, many others. But especially, Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya's life and soul is Srimad Bhagavatam. So that's why we also want to make it as our life and soul. In the beginning prayers, I quoted Srila Sanatana Goswami. He says, Madeka Bandho Mat Sangin, Mad Guru Man Mahadhan, Man Nistaraka Mad Bhagya Madananda Namostu. Actually, Bhagavatam is my only bandhu. Madeka Bandho Mat Sangin. Bhagavatam is my only associate. Man Nistaraka Mad Bhagya. Bhagavatam is my deliverer. Bhagavatam is my fortune. Like that is glorified. Very beautiful. So, if we take this Bhagavatam in our life will be flooded with joy of Krishna consciousness, with joy of Krishna Katha. And by Srila Prabhupada's mercy, we see, I mean, so many of our acharyas down the line have commented on Bhagavatam. Beginning with Srinath Chakravarti, Chaitanya Madhva Manjusha, then Sanatana Goswami wrote Brihad Vaishnava Toshali. Srila Jeev Goswami wrote 3 commentaries on Bhagavatam, Krama Sandarbha. Then Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he wrote his amazing commentary called as Sadartha Darshini. Baldev Vidyabhushan wrote Vaishnava Nandini. Shri Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur wrote his short commentaries like he wrote a Vivruti commentary, Ananta Gopal Tathya commentary, Sindhu Vaibhava Vibruti, and then our own Srila Prabhupada, Abhay Charnaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who practically made Bhagavatam all over the world famous. Prabhupada's contribution is actually unprecedented. The way Prabhupada wrote commentaries on Bhagavatam and established it on the larger scale by writing in English language, he just spread it all over the world. So actually we are extremely grateful to Prabhupada and that he in our life came as somebody who has given us the Bhagavatam. I mean, at least personally, I didn't come from a background where I was a reader of Bhagavatam or something, which might be the case with many others also. But just because of Srila Prabhupada, we got introduced to Bhagavatam, and then such beautiful pastimes, such beautiful 10th canto and Vrindavan and Mayapur. So that's why Prabhupada's contribution is actually in our life is unforgettable, and we will remain eternally grateful for awarding this Bhagavatam. So this is how Bhagavatam has been established in our Sampradaya as the great Praman, the highest Praman, like that. And it's an elaborate topic. It's discussed in Tattva Sandarbha for many pages, in fact. So I'm just sort of giving you some glimpse, Digdarshan. Digdarshanam matre. Only I am doing some Digdarshanam, just giving you a hint and giving you a glimpse of what all has been written and like that. Out of that, actually, what to speak of 10th canto? That's the best topic of entire Bhagavatam. If you see, Bhagavatam has 10 topics. Any Mahapuranam has 10 topics of discussion. Any Puranam has 5 topics of discussion. And any Upapuranam has less than 5 topics of discussion. So Bhagavatam is a Mahapuranam, and it has 10 topics of discussion. These are spoken in the 2nd canto, 10th chapter. Atra sargo visargascha sthanam poshanam utayah manvantare shanu katha nirodho muktirashraya. You know this. 10 topics of Bhagavatam. Sarga, Visarga, Sthana, Poshan, Uti, Manvantar, Ishanu Katha, Nirodha, Mukti, Ashray. So out of which the most important topic is Ashray. Ashray is how Krishna is the Samam Bonam, how Krishna is the shelter, supreme absolute truth. And that's the most important topics which is discussed in the 10th canto. That's how 10th canto is the most important topic in entire Bhagavad. But in order to understand 10th canto, one has to grow gradually. He has to go from first to second to third to fourth canto, and then only we can relish 10th. We can't jump to the 10th canto. Srila Prabhupada was very much against it, jumping to the directly 10th canto. No. So gradually we have to go systematically. First two cantos are like Lord's lotus feet. So when we take deity's darshan, do we directly look at the lotus face of Krishna? No, we don't. We look at the lotus feet of Krishna, Radharani, and then gradually we look at their lotus face, right? So that is how darshan is to be done. Same way, Bhagavad darshan also should be done in the same. You understand first canto, second canto, which are like lotus feet, and then further you go up, and 10th canto is like beautiful face of Krishna. And in that, those 5 chapters of Ras Leela are like beautiful smile of Krishna. Rasa Panchadhyayi, it is like Smita, beautiful smile of Krishna. So if we go systematically, then we will be able to appreciate this. But the point is, the 10th canto is the sum and substance of Bhagavatam, like that. All the other topics of Bhagavatam are meant to glorify that 10th canto's Ashraya Tattva, Krishna being the supreme shelter. Dashamasya Vishuddhyartham Navanamiha Lakshanam Varnayanti Mahatmanaha Shrutena Charthena Chandasa. Shukadev Goswami says this again in the same second canto, 10th chapter. He says this verse that actually all topics of Bhagavatam are supposed to gear us, take us towards that 10th canto, which is pure, spotless glories of Krishna. Like that's the conclusion of the 10th canto, the entire Srimad Bhagavatam. So we all want to relish those pastimes, and these occasions like Janmashtami, which is coming, which is just on 30th of this month. So Janmashtami, Balram Jayanti before that, or the Kartik month that will come in November. So these are all opportunities where we can absorb ourselves in those Leelas of 10th canto and, be blessed by that beautiful description of Lord's Leela and the beautiful lessons that can come from that Leela. It's all very wonderful. Now from tomorrow we will see, you can see Leelas and the lessons from the Leelas. They go hand in hand. Actually, Krishna's Leelas are so beautiful. Not only you enjoy them, not only you relish them, but there is so much to learn as a sadhaka in our life. So they have Bhagavatta in it, and they have also Upadesh in it. Bhagavatta is Lord's glory is established, Lord's great being supreme enjoyer is established. At the same time, Upadesh. There is also what can we learn from this? So that's why these are very beautiful pastimes, actually, leaders of 10th canto. And opportunities like this, we take them with eagerness so that we can become attached to the lotus feet of Shri Shri Radha Krishna, which are our worshipable divine couple, Supreme Lord. So this is why Bhagavatam is meant for, This is why Lord, in fact, performs the pastime. Kunti Maharani also establishes this in the 8th chapter of 1st canto. The most important reason why Krishna performs Leelas is this only, where Krishna wants to come and give us the topic for discussion. Imagine Krishna, if he wants to kill the demons or he wants to protect the sadhus, Paritranaya sadhunam vinachaya dushkritam, he doesn't need to come and kill. He doesn't have to come here to kill the miscreants and protect sadhus. He can do that sitting there in the spiritual world, Golok Vrindavan, Vaikuntha. But why does he come? He comes to do these Leelas and thereby give the topic for discussion. That's the speciality of Krishna. And that is why he appears in this world, actually. to give these beautiful topics of discussion. Otherwise, imagine if these topics were not there, what will be doing now? what will I be speaking now? If there was no topic only, no Krishna Katha, see, there is no Krishna Leela only, then what we will discuss? That way. Finished, I mean, we can't even discuss anything. So that is the main reason why Krishna comes. Bhavesmin klishyamananam avidya kama karmabhi shravana smarana arhani karishaniti keshan. She says, Kunti Devi. That's the final reason, actually. And those who hear these pastimes, those who accept them, relish them, glorify them, they will soon see the lotus feet of Krishna. That is Kunti Devi's blessing. Shrinvanti gayanti granantya bhikshnasha smaranti nandanti tave hitam jana tayeva pashyanti achirena tavakam bhava pravaho paramam padambujam. Achirena, soon those people will be able to see the lotus feet of Krishna. That's the point. So that is the glory of 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Ashraya Tattva, like that. And within that, the glory of Vraja Leela, which is the first 40 chapters of 10th canto. 10th canto has 90 chapters. Within that, the first 40 are Vraja Leela, middle 10 are Mathura Leela, last 40 are Dwaraka Leela, roughly. So very symmetric, actually. Very symmetric distribution is there. You see 40th chapter is where Akrura is taking Krishna to Mathura. And then 50th chapter where Krishna is establishing Dwaraka. So 40, 10, 40. Like that you can see. Vraja, Mathura, Dwaraka, in this way. So in that Vraja Leela, I mean, such Krishna's nectarine pastimes are there. All pastimes of Krishna are nectarine. But what to speak of Vraja Leela? That is like the crest jewel of all the pastimes. Krishna's complete subservience to his devotees is there. No Aishwarya, only Krishna doesn't show any Aishwarya there. Only Madhurya, complete Madhurya he shows. And such beautiful, actually. Just Krishna stayed in Vraja for only 10 months, if you see. 10 months and, 10 years, sorry, not 10 months, I'm sorry. 10 years. 10 years and around 4 to 6 months Krishna stayed in Vraja. That's it. Then he went to Mathura. And then many years he stayed in Mathura and finally in Dwaraka. 125 years Krishna stayed in this world before going back to Golokunda. So in that he has stayed in Vraja only 10 years, if you see. But in those 10 years, the Leelas that he has described are so nectarine, so sweet, that is the most, what you can say, discussed and sweetest part of entire 10th canto. Kavi Karnapur wrote another book itself only on Vraja Leela. Ananda Vrindavan Champu. He wrote another book in itself. So because so much is the madhurya of that particular 10th canto. So this is how this is glorious. Bhagavatam is glorious. In that 10th canto is glorious. In that Vraja Leela is glorious. So we have seen these specialities in a brief way. I'm again saying I'm just doing some digdarshan. Finally, I will end with now 5 minutes more. I will discuss the Govardhan Leela's glory. I mean, again, in a very brief way, and then we will stop for today. So, in those Vraja Leelas, which are 40 chapters of 10th canto, the glory of Govardhan Leela is also very unique, actually. It's the most celebrated pastime of Krishna after Ras Leela. Ras Leela has, it is the most heavily commented and it is extremely glorified pastime of Krishna, where he manifests his supreme enjoyment. He is the Param Bhokta. Krishna manifests that in those 5 chapters of Ras Leela, Rasa Panchadhyay. But Govardhan Leela is just next pastime, which is also glorified, so much commented, so much by acharyas, celebrated all over the world. 4 chapters in 10th canto are dedicated for Govardhan Leela, actually. 4 chapters. Rasa Panchadhyay has 5 chapters. This Govardhan Leela has 4 chapters. And so many aspects of Bhagwan's Bhagavatta and Upadesh, Shiksha come out of this Govardhan Leela. It's actually extremely relevant in sadhaka's life, this particular Govardhan Leela. And I was a child, and when I came to my college years, I was studying engineering in Pune, one of the government colleges here. So I was studying, and that's where I met devotees, first time in my life. So when they asked me my name, my legal name, in that, my father's name is Govardhan. My father's name is Govardhan. So when they said that, they asked me, and when I answered that, saying my name is Kuladeep and my father's name is Govardhan, legal name. So then immediately that devotee said, "Do you know Govardhan? What is the meaning of Govardhan?" So I knew a little bit. Yes, that is the mountain which Krishna lifted. Yes, but he said, "What is the meaning of that word Govardhan? And do you know the Leela?" So I didn't know. So then he made me hear whole Leela. And it was very nice to know about, very nice details he told of Govardhan Leela. So what I'm trying to say is Govardhan Leela is so nectarian, it is so colorful. But then I always had this question that 7 days and 7 nights Krishna lifted Govardhan. So what did he do so much time there? 7 days and 7 nights, what did he do? See, sometimes there are these Olympic weightlifters, right? They lift the weight and then in 2-3 seconds they put it down, isn't it? Imagine some weightlifter is there, he's just holding that weight just like that. He first of all would not be able to do it, but even if imagine he is able to do it, he is holding the weight. So then people will say, "Arey, put it down, we are getting bored enough, put it down." So I was thinking, I had that childish question that what did Krishna do 7 days and 7 nights? He lifted and he kept down. That's how it should be, right? But 7 days, 7 nights. But then when I read this Bhagavatam, and when I read Acharyas like Kavi Karnapur, Jiva Goswami, so much elaborate discussion on what happened in those 7 days. Even in Bhagavatam, Shukdev Goswami didn't have much time. So he didn't elaborate much on that. But if you see from Jiva Goswami's books, and all, so much has happened between those 7 days. So in coming sessions, we will also be discussing these aspects, these beautiful pastimes which have occurred below Govardhan hill when Lord Krishna had lifted Govardhan, and he was holding it on his small finger of left hand. So very elaborate, such beautiful pastimes have happened under Govardhan Leela. In fact, Kavi Karnapur says that is the place where Krishna reciprocated with all 5 rasas. Simultaneously, he was reciprocating with Shantaras, Dasyaras, Vatsalya, Madhurya, Sakhya. He was reciprocating simultaneously with all the devotees. So what happened in those 7 days, 7 nights under Giriraj Govardhan is actually a very beautiful description. And some of that we will also touch in our discussions coming from tomorrow. So this is how Govardhan Leela is extremely special. And we will see this first time as we move on tomorrow. At this point, I would like to stop for today and just seek if there are any clarifications, questions, or any comments on what I had discussed today. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Would somebody like to ask anything or comment? You have any comments, questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam.
Yes, Dandavat Mataji.
Prabhu, I have a question. It may not be related directly to the topic that you spoke about the rasas. Is it possible that a conditioned soul develops a different relationship or rasa with Lord Krishna than what he had before he fell into material existence? Hare Krishna.
Okay, so this is quite a topic in itself. Yes, this needs an elaborate discussion as such. Yeah, but I mean, the details of this, based on various acharyas, imports and all that, are quite many. But I would tell in principle, yes, it is possible. It is possible. The Siddhanta says that it is possible that one could develop a rasa which is different from one's original constitutional uh, position, so to say, before one comes back to the comes from spiritual world. Because see, this is completely unto Krishna, and especially with Lord Chaitanya, who came to give Unnat Ujjvala Rasa. So it is possible that by Lord Chaitanya's mercy, even one who is not in that particular rasa will be able to develop and relish that particular rasa if one accepts the process of Lord Chaitanya, given by Lord Chaitanya. So he may be able to experience that madhurya ras. That is possible. So it's a deep siddhanta, but in principle, is it possible? Yes, it is possible actually. So I'm sure there might be further questions on that, but then yeah, I mean, at this stature and at this point of time, we'll hold it there. If the discussion comes in the future sessions, I'll somewhat elaborate also on that topic. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah, no problem. Yes. Anyone else has anything? Do you were you able to understand the contribution of Bhagavatam, how it was established by our acharyas and all? I hope that discussion wasn't too complex or anything. I just wanted to give a historical perspective on it. That was the purpose. Right.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, yes, actually, because for us everything is so much available. What Srila Prabhupada has done, as you said, what he has done is unprecedented. But it's important for us to understand the importance, because we don't study our scriptures, we don't study other Puranas. We just have it in hand. So how do we know the importance until you tell us? So yes, thank you very much, Prabhu.
Okay, thank you. Yes, thank you. Fine. So I would just check once in. Okay, Raghunath Puri Prabhu, you want to say something?
Yeah, Prabhuji, we just had a wonderful session with your introductory. So many things we came to know that. And yes, Prabhuji, will continue with our journey tomorrow and seek your blessings to move ahead and get all the rasas which we are trying to get in our life by taking the mercy of Lord and mercy of all the Vaishnavas. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dhanavad Pranam.
Dhanavad. I also look forward to have all of you and discuss something in your association. Fine. So in case then I don't, because yes, I obviously expect this was an introductory session. So in case there are no questions and comments, I would like to stop here today. And then from tomorrow, we will discuss the aspects of the pastime. All right. Shri Krishna Bhagavan ki jai. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Gaur. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Hare.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Prabhuji.
Prabhu.
Hare
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 Krishna.
Krishna.
Pranam, Prabhuji.